Hello, my name is Qais Dabbakeh. I am originally from Amman, Jordan, but I'm currently living in North Carolina. My presentation is going to be about the Al-Madina Bank money scandal and its effect on Levant politics, more specifically Lebanon. My question is, how did the Al-Madina Bank scandal affect modern Lebanon's economic instability and security concerns? I'm not an expert. Please correct me, ask questions, and contribute, but do it nicely. And I am not trying to persuade you of my agenda. My presentation is going to consist of three main sections. The first is going to be about the scope of the local losses caused by the event and others like it. The second is going to be about the characters that were involved, more specifically the politicians, whether they be Lebanese, Syrian, or otherwise. And then finally, we're going to talk about modern day Lebanon on the funneling effects on its security and its people. What led me to this? Lebanon inhabits a very special place in my heart. It has grown some of the most influential Arab artists, and it has had some of the most ravishing and exciting intellectual products. It has shaped the social infrastructure and the brand of the Middle East in general, and I believe that many people can attest to that. Unfortunately, all of this has been put to a halt, and the social like I said, the ecosystem is just not the same as what it used to be because of the economic and political shakiness of the region, or the country. So I believe that a deep and thorough analysis of its past is needed in order to, prevent this from happening again. 2003 to 2005. So the collapse of the Al-Madina Bank occurred in 2003 after a series of successful money laundering and looting attempts, which amassed to over $1.5 billion US in local losses. This event is also linked to the assassination of former Lebanese Prime Minister Rafiq al-Hariri. Some of the most influential figures involved were the executive secretary of the Al-Madina Bank, the head of the operation, Jannah Qulaylat, who was jailed in 2004 but was spirited away from her jail cell in 2005 to Cairo, where she is allegedly living under a fake name. The head of Syrian military intelligence in Lebanon, Major General Rostam Ghazali, who locked away the bank's key documents to prevent further investigations from taking place. The Ayyash brothers, who are the bank owners, they claim that they had nothing to do with the scheme and they were actually the ones who were most negatively affected by it. And more indirectly, Saddam Hussein, whose central bank of Iraq leveraged Al-Madinah to launder money. In addition to, of course, other undisclosed Lebanese and Syrian politicians and leaders of the time, uh, most of these names were redacted from the UN report that was released to the public. What were the intentions of the politicians who were involved? I believe that their intentions were very plain and simple. I mean, this was a financial criminal journey, you could say. Um, so their intention, they wanted money. Um, and also in some type of way, it was a social venture of sorts because it collected many powerful and influential figures of the time of that region, and it kind of forced them to work towards one common goal. So they were learning more about each other. They were kind of getting to know each other. They were leveraging each other's positions and strengths in order to get some type of financial or monetary gain. This, of course, was a very big event in Lebanon. So the government responded accordingly and it set a specific clause in place after it. Most of these were part of anti-corruption laws and anti-money laundering. So in 2008, the Financial Intelligence Unit was granted the power to freeze assets linked to corruption and made corruption part of anti-money laundering laws. This basically means that during investigations, it basically made it easier for local authorities to keep an eye on the people who were involved. The Central Bank of Lebanon updated its rules to include corruption risks in how banks assess clients and transactions, and how they define politically exposed persons. The compliance systems were also improved. This means that audits and exams were implemented more routinely, that they upgraded outdated softwares, and they issued guidelines to help banks follow anti-corruption laws. The Lebanese Commercial Code was updated to create a registry for beneficial ownership. So this basically means that there was a database of all shareholders who owned or had a say in the inner workings of financial institutions. This basically made it easier to, like I said, track down the figures who are to be involved or know something about some type of trickery or the inner workings of any type of financial institution, whether it be a bank or something else. This was a major, like I said, this was a major event of the time of that region. So the United Nations were involved. They were actually heavily involved. The United Nations International Independent Investigation Commission was the one that took over this investigation. They assisted local authorities and they investigated frequent bombings and assassinations of 2005. The Lebanese national politicians and intellectuals were the ones that were most targeted during 2005 because of the, like I said, through these assassinations and frequent bombings. This commission was actually the one that linked the Al-Madina scandal to former Prime Minister Al-Hariri's assassination, 2019. On the 17th of October of 2019, people took to the streets of Lebanon and protested because of a WhatsApp text that was to be put on. WhatsApp is a freely available social media platform, and what the government and politicians of Lebanon at the time presented was that they wanted to tax the use of WhatsApp, which was ridiculous to the people of Lebanon at that time. This also the wrath in the people was also accumulated by an event that had occurred a little prior to this, when wildfires spread through the forests of Lebanon. These wildfires had to be put out by citizens and civil efforts because of a mismanagement of resources by local authorities. And they just didn't have the proper equipment that was up to date to be able to deal with the situation and prevent the fires and put them out. 2024, modern day Lebanon. Modern day Lebanon is going through a security crisis. It's unable to protect itself against Israel's repeated attacks because of lack of political a mismanagement of resources and a lack of political power, lack of influence in the international on the international stage. It's unable to defend itself or retaliate because of many events like the Al-Madina Bank Scandal, which leached Lebanon's economy and drained it of its resources. Lebanon is a country that is very rich in religious and ethnic and linguistic diversity. So this means that it's very active culturally, which means that it doesn't really have a specific area that it works in. Yeah, it just basically now all of these factors have accumulated and led it to the point of having weak governance and politics. Lebanon's history, throughout Lebanon's history, we see that complete reliance does not seem to be an option. There are tons of political shifts and groups of equal power fighting for dominance and governance of the country. Resistance groups are currently the ones that are in power, not the country's organized government, which leads to a lot of international recognition issues, and it doesn't follow, Lebanon's politics don't follow the base format of having an appointed government. These are some of the references, and thank you.